much. It's much better.
The flows are so easily visible that
I
think we should ask them.
Yeah, usually these guys, the cool gang sitting in the back, right? And now it's full line there, then you cannot hide anything. Just come over here.
Remember, the quiz will be only for the last rows.
Yeah, the last.
And to get more pizza, you need to pass it.
Yeah. It's a simple rule. All right, we live?
Yeah.
All right, hello everybody. 74. 74th meeting, AWS User Group Krakow. We are here, first time. My name is Mateusz.
Hello.
And we are here with Clico this time, first time. Clico is a distributor of the various solutions. Today they will tell us about solution that maybe you can meet in the on-prem, but right now it's fully, let's say, cloud native. Should be like that? No, it's going to be Kubernetes.
Cloud native.
Cloud marketplace ready. We'll see, guys. We'll see. Nevertheless, thank you very much, Clico, for hosting us. The next presentation will be delivered by community members as well. So don't worry, we'll not be only today with the vendors.
And our first presentation will be from Mateusz and Tomasz from Clico about security. So as always, I will try to ask them as many questions as possible.
The question, guys, you want questions during the presentation or in the end?
Maybe at the end.
Okay, so duly note everything, right? Here you have the Clico gives like small notebooks, so you can note your questions, like billions of them, and then ask the guys on the end. They will feel a little bit under fire.
And it's worth it because I don't think it's secret. Like the most questions asked, first the people will get some rewards.
Yeah, of course. It's worth it. And on the end of the meeting, we will pick some people who get the best answers on our pool, and we'll get the vouchers of $50 for AWS services, right? So it will give you chance for this $50 to run Bedrock for like 0.7 seconds, right? But don't worry, it's better like that than use your own money. But it's good for start.
Always. And our second presentation will be about GitHub actions from Aleksander. So that's also something interesting.
GitHub is always interesting, especially when you think that it's a private repository and you just forget to think it.
It's always private public.
Private
It's just
we don't try our AI or our repositories, right?
Well, there was
He will talk about it, right?
There was a nice vulnerability in OpenAI.
I don't know. I don't even repeat the word you said, right? Security is not my thing. So again, thank you very much for coming here. Thank you very much for people online, and let's start. You ready, guys?
Yeah. Yes.
They have only 737 slides, so don't worry. It's going to be brief.
You need to have any questions. So.
Yeah.
So hello, welcome everyone on site and online. We are here with Mateusz, my colleague, who is senior security consultant in Clico, and also myself. My name is Tomasz Wojtas, and we are here thanks for organizers, but also with sales representative of Rapid 7 in Poland, Bartek Sobczyk, who is there. He's also helping us with the gifts, so many thanks to him. Today we would like to tell you a few words about real-life attack scenarios. We have, thanks to threat intelligence from Rapid and other solutions, we can know how the hackers are targeting the cloud and how they are trying to breach and exfiltrate data and make some problems for the end customers. Our job is to deliver security solution and help security teams to hunt for these attacks. So today with Mateusz we will show you how Rapid 7 can help us with that stuff, with the job. Maybe a quick introduction how cloud is developing. So hot topics today, AI is everywhere, edge computing is getting more and more popular, so probably all that stuff is, maybe you are better in that cloud native solution than me, but what we are really like is edge computing in security, because edge computing allows us to not leave malware analysis only for sandbox, but we can in live, in seconds, analyze newest malware, newest generated by AI payloads and stuff like that. Platformization, you will see it on our vendors portfolio, that vendors are generally making the solution more capable, making one platform, big platform with a lot of features. So Rapid is also playing that game, so they are trying to make one big platform addressing a lot of cases. Multi-cloud and hybrid cloud. This is really interesting because from security perspective, you need to train your teams, train your experts to know at least on intermediate level something about cloud security. But if you have a multi-cloud environment or hybrid cloud, you need to train your people in AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, or so on. Of course, AWS mostly. But it's sometimes it's tough. There is a lack of experts on the market, so maybe it's a good idea to left some of this responsibility to automated solution, best-in-class solution. In our portfolio, we are developing, we are promoting only Gartner leaders, so we have really good solutions in our portfolio. Top threats in the cloud. Why I'm talking about multi-cloud and hybrid cloud? Because please take a look at number one, misconfiguration and not taking care about change control in cloud environments was the top threat in last year, according to Cloud Security Alliance, so non-vendor ranking. So it's really hard to stay compliant, stay under the compliance standards, stay with best practice in multiple cloud environment, in hybrid cloud environments. So it's getting worse. It's generally interesting because, you know, there's an AWS config, AWS inspector, Microsoft Sentinel, and so on. But it's still we have problems and troubles with misconfigurations, and it's worse than in 2022. Of course, there are other problems, like problems with identity and management access. There are some security solutions that can point who has access to what in AWS or in cloud. Of course, we need to take care about software development, about vulnerabilities, about our infrastructure as a code. Yeah, this is crucial because we need to train our even developers to secure templates from Terraform, CloudFormation, and so on, and make it secure, make it compliant, because it's very usual and common that these templates are being pushed automatically to the environment. Maybe test environment, but of course there is a lack to the customer that have test environment and production environment, but sometimes there are unlucky people who have only one environment with two functions. So we need to take care about security at the beginning of developing applications. New cyber attacks based on AI. There are 4 types classified by NIST. Also, there is a trend that AI is everywhere, but AI can be trained in wrong way. AI can be not secure against prompts, against privacy attacks, to ask the AI model who is not ready to protect himself, or we are asking about confidential data. We can easily be violated for against Robo incident. There are also abuse attacks, like when I'm asking the AI ChatGPT or some other AI model to provide me the malware for attacking some other customer. This is an abuse attack. I'm using AI in wrong way, and if it's your AI app, yeah, it's not good. You can take part of responsibility for that. I have prepared few examples from last 2 years. For example, APT Group, I found it in Rapid 7 Threat Intelligence Solutions. So they are really true security attacks, security breaches against cloud environments. So for example, Team TNT and also Scarlet is a campaign, but they use the same techniques. So the attack was the one of scenario of attacks very popular is attacking cloud instance metadata API, when you can jump to virtual machine, ECS, container service, of course, Kubernetes service, and extract, Lambda is also vulnerable for that. When you can extract metadata and also session token and assume the role of that instances, that workloads, and this is the way how you can elevate your permissions. This is privilege escalation attack. The hackers stole these credentials, enumerate the accounts that this credential leads to. They use this technique, even described it via MITRE attacks, and then they run crypto mining. Crypto mining is not good for us because we are losing money. Somebody is using our resources, but this is not only the one point, but we have also a problem according to compliance, according to responsibility, because in this example, the hackers run botnets for other DDoS, denial of the service attacks, conducting for other companies. So it looks like in the logs that your company is attacking another company, and you need to, explain to the police, I hope, maybe internet police, that you are not responsible for this attack because you are a victim. Somebody ran botnet in your environment and attack some other entity. So this is also another use case why we need to take care about that. Jinx, Scylla, there are two other APT groups, so they try to use same set of attack to privilege escalation, to get privilege escalation, but they failed, so they find out that their laws allows them to generate LLM, they run LLM application model, and repeatedly run these models, so they generated a very high cost, more than $40,000 per day, by LLM consumption on the victim. So this is another maybe way to how to deal as a company. You can run out of money for that company. So it's called LLM jacking. Intel broker, I will describe this technique later because we have ready demo, but generally in this company, Born Group, it's real company. The company has Jenkins server with new vulnerability. Of course, probably this vulnerability is fixed. Yes, the newer Jenkins is fixed, so probably you are not vulnerable for that. But look that this is the vulnerability from last year. So maybe there are a lot of vulnerabilities this year in newer Jenkins, but they are not found out yet. So maybe some pen testers, some white hackers, gray hackers, or black hats will find it out in the future. So we need to scan for vulnerabilities to not be vulnerable. We need to take care about that. It's crucial because after attacking this Jenkins server, the SSH keys were stolen. Then these SSH keys were used to authenticate the user to the GitHub repository and generally get all the code of that company to computer of hackers. There are some hard-coded credentials on this code, so also another lateral movement possibility. They generally jump to other clouds and get more. So this is really important case, important scenario. And the last one, I like this attack because CodeFinger is specific ransomware when you are not deploying the ransomware as a malware, as a payload or program, but you can change the privileges to keys in your environment that are stored in in secrets manager or key management service. And if you change the privileges to that keys, you probably cannot decrypt it because you don't have access to the key. So functionally it's a ransomware. You don't have the access to the data because they're encrypted and you don't have access to the key. So even without malicious software, the hackers can run ransomware against your company if you're not taking care about that. For example, this policies, proper policy in IAM, the service policies. Yeah. Also, we need to take care about incidents because regulations in our country, in our region, are forcing us. So cloud incidents are also incidents. So our security operations center need to take care about incidents. They need to report to CESIR. They need to report to other entities. So yeah, we are forced to take care about incident, and it's easier with proper tools, with proper solutions. We don't need to do it manually. And we will tell you something, Mateusz will tell you about the proper solution. For us, CNAPS, Cloud Detection and Response, and Cloud Native Application Protection Platform are the best solutions to take care about many problems with security in cloud environment. So, Mateusz, please go to the stage.
Okay, thanks a lot. Okay guys, so I have a pleasure to show you the Rapid7 CNAP tool, so Cloud Native Application Protection Platform. I have only 2 slides and then we will move to the demo. So I will try to explain you how it is working, so how this tool is built and how it can help us to protect our environments. Yeah. Okay. So a few words about Rapid7 portfolio. As you can see, Rapid7, this is the platform that can protect your environment on different areas. Yes. So as you can see, we have XDR or SIEM solutions, threat intelligence, application security, SOAR solutions, so we can automate a lot of things. But we also have the Inside CloudSec. So this is the tool we're focused on the Inside CloudSec now. And in case of the Inside CloudSec, we have 3 pillars that are crucial in this type of solution. Yeah. So as you can see, we have cloud security posture management. So Tomek told that the most of the incidents in the cloud are because of the misconfigurations. Yeah. So cloud security posture management will help you verify misconfigurations or the risk in your cloud accounts. We are supporting multi-cloud. So the biggest cloud providers, the most popular cloud providers can be connected to that system, and the configuration can be verified through that tool. The second pillar is cloud workload protection. So we also want to protect our workloads, so containers. We want to analyze the infrastructure as a code. We want to also verify the vulnerabilities of the EC2, of the virtual machines that are works on our cloud. And the third thing is the identity. So we also need to verify the access, the permissions of the accounts, the roles, policies that we have in our cloud. Okay, so let's go to the demo. So I will try to show you. Yeah, okay, sorry for that. I will try to show you very fast how the Inside CloudSec is working. Okay, we have some technical issues, but I hope we will be back. Okay, 1 moment. Okay, something goes wrong. Maybe let's try to.
Okay, so we are all technical guys, so let's turn it off and turn it on.
As a cheap, there is no demo without fails.
Yeah, at the beginning of the demo, there's a fails.
Okay, we are back. Okay. Okay. So this is our solution. The Inside CloudSec looks like that, and how it is working. So we can, first of all, we can verify all of our instances and the critical resources. So when we log into the system, then you can see the risk overview. Yeah. So there are some resources that have vulnerabilities. We have also the critical resources that are prioritized based on the risk factors. Some toxic combinations, yes. So as you can see, this is few factors that are connected together, yeah. Like for example, a public business application with the critical CVEs, and it is also on the attack path. So system can correlate a lot of factors, a lot of information about your environment, and then can provide the attack path, so can visualize how hackers can compromise your system. And in case of the deployment, how we are working with the inside CloudSec. So first, we need to connect the cloud. So as you can see, we have few clouds connected to our solution. As I told, there is, the biggest cloud providers are supported. And when you are configuring the solution, you can do it manually. So you can just configure proper permissions and connect the application to your cloud account. And from the another side, we can also automate it. And this is, of course, recommended way. So we can generate and download script and just run it on the cloud site. And then it should create for the connection for us. After the cloud is connected, the harvesting process starts up. So as you can see, we have the harvest info. And harvesting, this is the process that works in the loop, so works in the intervals. And we have something like the harvesting strategy, yeah? So we are providing information how often specific resources from the specific regions should be harvested to the system, yeah? So you can use the system-generated harvesting strategy, but also you can configure your own, yes? So you can customize the times. And when the harvesting will finish, then system can perform the checks on our configuration. How the checks works? So we have something like the insights. And insights, there are rules that verify our configuration, yeah? It is provided and prepared through the vendor. So as you can see, we have a lot of rules now. For now, it is more than 1,100. And you can see what is the severity of the specific insight, how many findings we are observing in our system. So for example, we have information that storage container is exposed to the public, and we can see that we have one findings. So we can see also what type of clouds are supported. And when we move here, we can verify what resource and on what cloud is impacted, yeah? Okay, and now we have one of the very vulnerable application implemented in our cloud, in our AWS instance. This is application that is called AWS Gold. So maybe you know this application. This is the application that can be used for red team testing or blue team testing. It can be also used to test your security systems. So there's a lot of vulnerabilities. This application is publicly available, so you can just fork it to your GitHub account. You can clone this repository, you can modify it, and you can deploy it to your cloud just for the testing purposes. And we deployed it through the actions, yeah? So here we have Terraform apply job. And then on the one of the steps, we have also the application URL. This is something like a blog application. So as you can see, we have some posts here. We can analyze that post. There's also a possibility to just log in or create your account. So this is very simple application. And what we can do, so how we can compromise this application. First of all, we can analyze the repository code to verify if there are some vulnerabilities on the repository. And I will firstly I will do it from the red teamer part. So we have the tool prepared for that purposes. And we have something like Trufflehawk solution, Trufflehawk tool. This tool is used to analyze repositories and it looks for information about the credentials. So about API keys exposed, about the passwords to the databases, for example. It also looks for the private or public keys. So if the developer by mistake, for example, will push vulnerable code to the GitHub, then you can analyze it and you can verify if something that can be used through the attackers is on the GitHub account. And for example, you can see here that there is a specific path and there are SSH keys. Here we have the name of the file or the name of the user that is owner of that key. We can also check the application code. So we can just inspect the code. And from here you can see that this image that I inspect is on the S3 bucket. So you can see the image is here. And then if we will delete the path to the image, then you can see that, okay, the production bucket, there's access denied. Yeah, so it is protected, it's not a public. But pen testers or hackers very often are trying to create another words. Yeah, so trying to, for example, verify different buckets. It can be done manually. It can be done automatically through different tools. So, for example, let's try with a test. Yeah, on the test we have a different information, different message. So that this specific bucket does not exist. Okay, so try with another one. So let's try with the dev, yeah, development. And here we can see very critical misconfiguration because we have access to read the content and to list the content of the bucket. Okay, so what will be interesting for us? Probably some critical information is like the keys. So you can see the key is accessible here. So we can just try to access the key and we can yeah, sorry for that. Okay.
Slash.
Okay. Okay, and now it is downloaded. And what is also very important for the attackers, this is there are the configuration files. So here we can also verify the config. And here I missed that T, sorry for that. Okay, and we can see. So as you saw, yeah, we had a Vincent van Gogh key, and here we also see that that key is used with that IP. We can connect to that machine through the SSH. So let's try to verify if we can connect here. Yeah, and we are here. Yeah, so this machine is publicly available, and this machine has also some misconfiguration in case of the roles that are assigned to it. I will tell you that this role is vulnerable because we have the permissions to pass the role. So we can, for example, create the new machine and we can pass another role to that machine and escalate the privileges. And here is the whole exploit that can be used to do it. Yeah, we do not have a time for it today, but I will show you how this type of misconfigurations and this type of attack can be mitigated through the inside cloud. So let's come back to our tool. Yeah, and let's start with something that is called layer context. So the layer context, it provides us the single pane of glass for our cloud environments. So here we can see all resources that are on our cloud resources, on our cloud environments. And here you can see that very, very critical is the dev block S3 bucket. Additionally, we can see that it contains the sensitive data. We can see that it is also public, and some of the insights are detected here. So let's open more information about that. And here you can see, okay, this bucket, we have some properties about this bucket. We can check the risk, and risk, as I told, is calculated through some factors. So we are checking if it is publicly accessible, yes. If it is on the attack path, I will show it later, also. We have the threat findings. So somebody probably tried to exploit this. We have insights, so there are the policies that can provide us information what misconfiguration we have with that bucket. Additionally, we can check, of course, the tags, so we can find out what type of development it is, the application, the owner of this resource, insights. So here you can see that we have a lot of insights. And for example, if you are interested in how we can fix it, then you can just read more about it. So you can read more about this misconfiguration. There are also recommendations in case of remediation. So what type of remediation we can do. And very important is the bot. We can create the automation from the inside CloudSec, and this is called the bot. So if something happens, so for example, if that insight will be triggered, then bot can fix the implementation. So we can implement the bot and run the code to fix, for example, make this container private. Okay, this is publicly accessible. There are also threat findings. The threat findings are harvested also from the cloud. And as you can see, if we have, for example, guard duty implemented, enabled on the cloud, on the AWS, then the threats that are generated, that are detected through the guard duty can be harvested to the system. Additionally, as you remember, we had some sensitive data here. So first of all, we can verify what type of permissions are assigned to that S3 bucket. And as you can see, Mateusz Gajda, so this is my user, and I'm the owner of the bucket, so I have full control. But from the another side, we have all users that can read the information from the bucket. Yeah. We can also check the policy, the IAM policy that is assigned here, and of course the sensitive data. So it finds out that the credentials, the OpenSSH private keys are on the bucket, and in case of the data findings, we can see the information. So if I will look here, then the private key also should be visible here. Let's try to. Okay. Yeah, so it should be visible here. The Vincent van Gogh key should be on the bucket. Yeah, so as you can see, it find out that some sensitive data are in the bucket. This bucket is also on the attack path. So system generating the attack paths, and here you can see that there is the personal data, and there is a risk of the data exfiltration. Yeah. So here we can see that the publicly exposed compute instance with access to the bucket with the critical data. And as I told you, system visualize whole attack path. So this is from the internet, how attackers can go resource by resource to the specific bucket. That is also tagged with that diamond account, which provide us information that some sensitive data are in the bucket. From another side, we also seeing that the machine have vulnerabilities. So we can go one more time to the attack paths, and here we can see that publicly exposed compute instance with high critical vulnerabilities are exposed to the world. So we expose the SSH port publicly, and also here from that view we can see that machine, and we can of course expand our view. So in case of the EC2 machine, we can verify also that resource. Yeah. So you can see that we have also the properties. There are also the actions. So we can manually from here, manually or automatically through the bot, we can execute the action. So if we, for example, we come back to the S3 bucket, I can also perform some actions on it. So let's open it one more time. And in the Actions tab, we can update the IAM policy. So here you can see that we allow for access, and and we have access to the bucket. But if I change it to deny, let's save it. And let's refresh it. Yeah, and access is denied. So we can also modify the configuration of the resources from the inside clouds. Okay, so let's come back to the instance. What type of informations we can get from here? So we can see that machine is still publicly accessible. It is public. But we can also, and of course, we can see the resources that are connected with why the machine is public. So you can verify your VPC, your security group. We are also analyzing the vulnerabilities. So this is the workload protection side. And here, inside CloudStack, analyzing the system vulnerabilities. It can be analyzed for the virtual machines. There's also a possibility to analyze this data for the code or for the containers. Okay. A few words about scanning. So we can integrate this tool with the CI/CD tools, for example, with the GitHub actions to perform the infrastructure as a code scanning. So here I also implemented the GitHub actions for the scanning. Here we have some errors, but it shouldn't be wrong here. So let's try to run it. And we can configure something that is called compliance pack. So we are providing what type of information we want to analyze, and then the system will verify the code, the Terraform, for example, the Terraform plan code, and will send this data to them inside CloudStack. So if it will finish correctly, then we should have information about code vulnerabilities in that view. So when we open it, every insight that failed, yes, so the checks, there is a misconfiguration everywhere where there's a misconfiguration, it is visible here. So you can also check your code before it will be implemented to the cloud. And last but not least, I thought about the automation part, yeah? So there's something like bot factory. So there are the automations that we can configure and we can implement here. And from that view, we can create a bot. So how it is working, as I told you, need to create the name for the bot, and we have the insights, yeah? So if the trigger, so the insight will be detected, so this configuration will be detected, then we can execute the actions. So let's create a bot very fast. Let's say for the instance, yes, so the resource type will be instance, it will be virtual machine, and then we need to also select the cloud. Yeah, and query filters, so we can find, for example, SSH, yeah? And here we can see, okay, when instance exposing the SSH to the public, then we can execute actions, yeah? And as an action, we can just, no, maybe not shut down, but we can reduce the access to it. So we can modify network security group, so clean up the security group. And for example, here you can also provide information about the port, what type of ports should be disabled. And after we will complete it, so let's configure it with 22, then the bot is ready, and you can also choose when the bot should run, yes? So it can be on the implementation, it can be on the modification, during the delete, so it's also depends from the actions that you are doing on your system. Okay, so that's everything from my side. Of course, we do not have a lot of time, and that's why the system is big, so there's a lot of different functionalities that can be shown to you. If you are interested in that system, you can contact us and we can schedule a whole presentation. So we'll show you every feature. We also have, for example, Kubernetes scanning, so the pods can be also scanning the containers. But now I'm providing the stage to the Tomasz, and Tomasz will tell you more about the attacks.
Thank you. So, yeah, Mateusz told you mainly about inside CloudSec, but also we have more solutions, and also they are platform optimized into one account. So, for example, we have also vulnerability scanner. Inside CloudSec can scan for vulnerabilities for instances, also from containers. But we have also one more solution, like it's traditional vulnerability management system. You can install it on-prem, but also there this system is handling the cloud. And for example, I'm taking care about this environment, and I was scanning my AWS infrastructure, and I can see that there is some critical vulnerability at my Jenkins server, CVE from the last year, with ready Metasploit module to to make a POC to test it. I generally wanted to know more about that, so I would like to check it with my threat intelligence solution. Rapid7 has another solution, it's called Threat Command, and we can analyze vulnerabilities, for example, not only vulnerabilities, also APT groups, hackers, how they are starting campaigns and so on. But let's concentrate on this particular vulnerability. I can read more details about that and analyze it from the market, let's say black market perspective, because scanners are assessing vulnerabilities from the static perspective. So scanners are based on CVSS score and stuff like that, but they are not also taking care about how the vulnerability is popular on the market. Are there really a group of hackers that are using these vulnerabilities or not? So threat intelligence can tell us that stuff. So you probably saw a few seconds ago that some hackers are using it because it was critical. So not only this is a critical vulnerability from static perspective, but also some hackers are using it. So let's check what is this vulnerability. Like that. It's okay. There was not so many slides. Yeah. So there was an Intel broker attack that Intel broker group really used this vulnerability against Born Group Jenkins server, and through this vulnerability, it's LFI vulnerability, so local file inclusion, if I remember properly, they can read files on the targeted system, thanks to wrongly configured Jenkins and generally vulnerable version of Jenkins. And through this vulnerability, they can read SSH keys. The keys were stored on the Jenkins. Jenkins encrypting it with master key, credentials, XML, and Hudson's secret salt or stuff like that. But also you can get these keys and decrypt it if you have time and you are so motivated. Then the hackers used these keys to access GitHub repository, dumped this repository, found hard-coded secrets, for example, to AWS, and infiltrate the other services, maybe run some miners, I don't know, the rest of the vectors, but there was some lateral movement. So let's check with the demo. I also have some repository with my custom application. There are some hard-coded credentials in index JavaScript file. I recorded this, so let's make it quite faster. This is the SSH key to authenticate to this repository, and also my Jenkins has this key. I can log into this repository and provide the Jenkins builds. And this Jenkins is invulnerable version. There are some credentials with description. This is the description for which application I'm using it. This is the information about user, Git. Git is the user, and this is stored encrypted private key on this Jenkins. And you can see on this corner that this is vulnerable version of Jenkins. So let's use this vulnerability. Let's say I'm in the network that can access this Jenkins. This is the original server. So you can see on this original server, this is credentials XML file with private key encrypted and with the information about description, username, and the same what you can see in web UI. Also, to decrypt this file, we need other files like master key and also Hudson util secret. This is the binary file that, thanks to mathematical cryptography algorithm, we can encrypt also the key to decrypt the key and then decrypt the other key, the secret you need to store in Jenkins. So it's quite complicated, but we are not stopping at that level. We are professional hackers, so we are on the attacker machine on the left side. I have read the exploits, also threat command allows me to show, to find out exploited in the wild or POCs from the several vulnerabilities. So I can find the ready code in the internet or in the darknet for particular vulnerability. And now let's make it a little bit faster. I can also, thanks to Python command, I can read Jenkins files. For example, I'm using it for reading etc plus wd. So this is the characteristic file, and I'm looking for SSH keys stored in this Jenkins. It's on the container, so we cannot see it here. Yeah, there is no such files, but you can see now I exfiltrated private key. So I exfiltrated this one of the three crucial files. This is the file containing the username, the description, so I know probably the repository that will be targeted, and I need to decrypt this private key to have it. So now I'm exfiltrating for this vulnerability also master key. Yeah, I have master key here at the bottom, and then I have troubles with binary, so I need to exfiltrate it in base 64 encoded version. So I need to modify this exploit. So now let's check it. Yeah, I have exfiltrated it with different format, and now output will be a binary file. Okay, similar as original, the same as original, but the presentation is this different. So let's now set up the Jenkins on the hacker side, because it's not so easy to decrypt. So I run my own Jenkins to decrypt it and implement all these master keys, Hudson, util secret, and credentials XML to this Docker container with another Jenkins. And thanks to that, yeah, I'm copying this file, I'm copying secrets, I'm copying these crucial files to new Jenkins on the attacker side. And then it's quite, yeah, this is setting up new Jenkins machine. I can, after the presentation, I can send this demo to anyone who is interested. But let's go to script console in Jenkins and ask Jenkins to decrypt this stolen key with the materials that I provided to him. Okay, a little bit easier. Yeah, so this is the script, and the result is ready private key that I can use to connect to my GitHub. So exactly the same exploitation as these hackers. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so now I'm adding this key to my Linux, and then you have successfully authenticated, but GitHub does not provide shell access. But never mind, I'm using git clone command, and I have all that files. So now what I need to do, I generally dumped GitHub repository from the targeted company. So what I need to do now is check what is there. So I found some access key and secret key to AWS. Now I'm using AWS CLI to use this account, to enumerate this account. And what I found out is I have the access to see secrets in Secret Manager. And one of the interesting secret is something that looks like database credentials. Here it is. So at the end, I probably, in this example, I have access to this database credentials, so I can access some other database located probably in AWS. So it's more and more opportunities for the hackers. But how Rapid7 can protect me against that? So let's also jump to demo. So continue session, let's go with that. So I have also a solution called Inside IDR. This is XDR from Rapid7. And thanks to detection rules or collecting all rules also from on-prem but also from cloud, because this solution is based on CM, I can build my custom rules. So thanks to that, I can find these operations that I show you. I have some incidents, critical incidents, when somebody access my my critical file on Jenkins machine because I have protection agent there. So he reported that somebody is using my credentials. Also, I can then isolate this component. I can make some reactions, some automated response for that. Also, I can find out what I can generally find these logs in my CM pane of glass. So here is the table generally with all the activities, credentials, master keys, Hudson secret. So I have the tools to detect, to investigate this incident. So I'm fulfilling this compliance standards that I have shown. I'm taking care about incidents in my company. Of course, not all the rules need to be done manually. The key power of this system is that the vendor and other vendors are powering up this system with detection rules, with automated correlations based on algorithm, on probably AI as always, or community threads. We have also extensions to that with Velociraptor, digital forensic tool. So also it's included in Rapid7 portfolio. So there is a lot of ways how we can detect. I lost probably the access to thread command, so I don't want to steal the time for showing it. Let's check if we can do it like that. Okay, so yeah, for the next time I will show threat intelligence, but generally how Rapid7 can address our cases mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. So mainly solution that Mateusz shows you is addressing the proper configuration and handling vulnerabilities on all the environment components, but also we have detection systems, we have threat intelligence, we have vulnerability scanner that can prepare us for attacks, because the knowledge about attacks gives us the advantage against hackers because we can prepare better. So this is our strategy. Yeah, and all that solutions can be delivered and tested, deployed, and generally maintained by Clico. So we are ready to help you. We have some experts on the board. We have some certified architects. So we are operating on whole Central Eastern Europe. So if you need any security help, please remember about Clico. We are ready to help you. Are there any questions? Thank you very much from my side and from Mateusz. Any questions? We are ready to discuss. Yeah. Yes.
How many of your customers are companies that have been hacked before and came to you after the incident? Is that like a big percent? Or?
I cannot tell you the names of the companies, but what is really a trigger for selling is security audit. So security audit open eyes, and there are a lot of customers who tested their security, not even with us, but with our partners. We have really big partnership base. And this is the trigger for buying serious security solution, because the best security solution takes responsibility for the teams who have sometimes lack of competences. The burnout of the SOC admins is also visible. So it's better to invest in good security solution because the return to investment is really fast. But I cannot tell you any details. But yeah, we have the POCs during the.
Thank you.
Thank you. Another.
The ration involves NAP or cloud security posture management inside. So how or what does differentiate this solution? For example, let's speak with Orca.
This is the main competitor. So this is how to say it. It's like we don't have battle cards. I'm not so expertising with Orca. I know a few solutions from that, also for Purity and other solutions. But The attack paths is really cool on that solution, what I can say. I haven't seen it before. But bots automation is really good. You can react for an incident, or even it will react automatically. And whole background and whole knowledge about vulnerabilities on Rapid7 side is really big, because Rapid7 owns Metasploit, Rapid7 owns vulnerability scanner. So we are detecting vulnerabilities and providing the information about that really well. And also Rapid7 acquires few companies, like for example, threat intelligence company. So these threat intelligence informations are also powering up the rest of the solution. So you can know much more about the context than probably other solution, but I don't know the other solution so well, so I don't want to.
Okay. And if we talk about price, based on what is built?
Excuse me, could you repeat?
If we talk about pricing model.
Pricing, we have Bartek, representative of sales, from sales side of Rapid7, and also our sales specialist Grzegorz, so we are only engineers. We don't know about pricing. Yeah?
Can this Jenkins vulnerability or path to grab real data be shown in your threat path?
Excuse me?
So you showed vulnerability in Jenkins,
Yeah.
how to use it. Can it be shown in threat path?
Yes, it can be shown in thread path, but it was on container, and we can. It's like thread paths are mainly taking care about instances, and our Jenkins was on container, and I didn't add this container registry for scanning for inside classes, so there is a lag in my team. But probably yes, it should be also taking care about vulnerabilities of containers on the instance, so it should take it into account.
But it will show vulnerabilities or show path, or how
It
might
could
be
be
exploited.
it could be a path from the vulnerability. So there are attack paths that are show, and I can show it to you if you want, if we have additional time, because not this example but other examples are also publicly exposed compute instance with high or critical vulnerabilities. So similar attack path, not the same, but let's click on the details. Let's refresh it. But the same story. You have some publicly exposed instance with vulnerabilities, and you should be able to click on that. I don't know ways. Maybe.
Exactly. So the attack paths are also showing when something is publicly available, because somebody needs to have access to it. So if you are exposing something,
Here you can see critical vulnerabilities too on the attack.
Yeah, I got it. It's related to some public things. Attack path is clear, but for most vulnerabilities, like most scanners, they're giving you hundreds of vulnerabilities, but most of them are not related to you. Like we saw here, scan of virtual machine that showed BTRFS issue, but if I'm not using BTRFS anywhere, it's not related to me, not at all. But it's also there.
Yes, so there could be always some false positive as in all scanners. So we are trying to correlate the configuration and vulnerability information in these attack paths. There are some limited detection rules for that, but also for very same scanner, we have the response that we are not scanning for vulnerabilities only by checking what version of software is on the asset, and by this information we are producing the list of vulnerabilities, but our scanners are also interacting with the machine. So we are shooting some payload in that machine, and our scanner is like should be less false positive, and this is what I heard from the market, that we are not generating at least so much false positive as maybe others, because we are really trying to, it's called in Rapid7 dictionary, it's called confirmed vulnerability check and unconfirmed vulnerability check. So in the scanner, they are dividing it for only unconfirmed that comes to the version of the software, but confirmed, it means we are touching it, and then it should be there. So, for example, if you have vulnerable server with exploitation prevention agent, we shouldn't report it because we touched it, the agent blocked us, so it's not a vulnerability, it's remediated.
Okay, makes sense.
But it's not like we don't have any false positives, as you know. happens.
One more question, do you have your own Terraform provider, something
Terraform provider, no.
to configure Rapid 7?
Yeah, so generally, if you are trying to plug it in, automated scripts are being generated on demand. So at the back end of the service of the SaaS solution, some Terraform will be produced, but I don't know the details so deep. So the deployment of the solution is
Yeah, so you can just generate the script and just run it on the cloud, and then the solution will connect to the cloud. But if you are asking about configuring the Rapid 7 solution through the Terraform script, we have API, so we can. There is no through the Terraform, but you can just connect through Python or different language and configure it, automate the configuration through the API. So we are doing it this way. If you want to use that tool, we providing it as a software as a service application. Yeah, but this is your instance, so this is your tenant of the application, and you can use it.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, just go ahead. Maybe.
Is it applicable for IoT and OT PLCs?
This inside CloudSec now probably only for cloud resources, but vulnerability scanner has some vulnerability checks and templates for IoT and SCADA system and so on. So if it has IP address, we can scan it, but the templates for the vulnerability checks are limited. So you maybe not. Yeah, we have some base of vulnerability checks, and there are some checks for IoT also. Yeah, let's say it like that.
Can you extend it by yourself?
You can run custom vulnerability checks, but it's like programmatic job to do. But you can implement but it's quite customization.
Yeah, it's like a platform, so you can deploy your own code.
Yes.
So you showed the feature where you could execute a script to fix something like the S3 bucket question.
Yeah.
So how do you handle the state drifts with that?
So this is quite because this mechanism is quite simple. So if the insight will trigger something, so if the policy will generate the incident, then the built-in script will do something. Yes. So it is quite simple, and here.
Yeah, I also have. You can have drifts, but we recommend to use such things for critical cases when you don't have time to react. For only critical cases should be like turn it on or stuff like that. But you can have drifts. We don't have automatic answer for that.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So in a sense, it would make even more sense to notify user that if they run any update on the infra, that the vulnerability will come back.
Yes, and from the security perspective, it's not like even in on-prem world, we are like ready to isolate stations and endpoints. It's not like in big company the SOC admin is sitting and when they receive some critical alerts, he's just clicking suspend, isolate, stuff like that. It's always better to notify, and it's always better to have procedures. But this is also a way to fast react. Yeah, it's the fastest reaction you can achieve.
Yeah, and you can also configure notification for yourself. Yeah, so if the bot will run, then you can just receive the email or something like that, and it will provide you information that it was wrong. Yeah, so we know about it. We can know about it.
Well, maybe you are waiting.
Although I've got a few questions, so if you've got one, so make this.
Yeah, like because it was a great topic about notification application, what kind of integration you have, like I mean, Jira, Slack?
We have,
Let's check.
yeah, so we can show you the integrations that are built in. So we have native integrations, but as we told, we have APIs, so we can write your own integrations.
Here.
Yeah, you can go just to the settings and integrations, so maybe it will be better. Settings in the main menu.
He's the expert for that solution.
Yeah, and here you can see.
Slack.
Our solutions also are
Able, so yeah, Teams.
okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Small question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question from one guy about integration. Do you have own reports in your system to see how many vulnerabilities how many vulnerabilities was closed? Do you have something?
There is reporting possibilities because we have a dashboard. So on the dashboards you can get more information. So on the summary view, so it's we are providing this type of reporting.
Generally, in also other part of our platform, we have something called remediation projects, and there are dedicated projects that are tracking your remediation activities and suggesting your remediation activities and showing you what is closed, what is open, what you want fixed because you need all the system and stuff like that. So it's a tracking feature in our platform.
Yeah, so you can create your goals, let's say. So until specific date, you want to upgrade all systems, for example, yeah, and then it will metric your progress, yeah.
So we are ready for you now.
I saw that you are checking out in the S3 buckets what's in the bucket. There is some sensitive info, and you are using AWS Macy. Is that the only thing you are using for detecting the sensitive data?
No, it was like example that we are also not losing these native solutions. So it's like we can integrate with Sentinel, with Macy, with Guard Duty, with other specified information, but natively inside CloudSec as itself probably also has abilities to detect sensitive data. What do you think?
Yeah, in case of the sensitive data, it was done through the inside CloudSec. We are providing the permissions to the specific configurations, like to the buckets, and then it's just verifying what is inside and trying to find out it through the insights. Yeah, so insights, this is the rule, and it try to compare it through the rules.
Okay, so what other than Macy you are using? Are you using like truffle hack under the hood or your own custom solution for detecting the files? If you've got permission to scan.
In case of the scanning and verifying the content, we probably only using our own solution. There's no integration. But in case of the threat findings, because you are probably asking about it, the threat findings are just harvested through the native cloud.
Okay. And have you tested Macy like in last year or two? Because I think it was already 4 years around, so it's like outdated info. But I remember Macy struggled a lot with European data. It was mostly based on US data. And also it struggled with zip archives. Like if you've got any nested folder in zip, it won't detect it. So
I haven't tested it.
Yeah, me also not.
It's not like pure DLP in Rapid7, to be honest. In this solution, there is no pure data patterns, and
okay.
You can find that, for example, parcel numbers or stuff like that. Okay. So we have different solutions.
Okay. And what permissions do you require to create? To run Rapid7 with cloud, let's say with AWS.
There is a lot of it is described in the documentation. So if you want to configure it manually, there's a whole list that provide you information what type of permissions you should configure, but if you are doing it through the script, it is also in the script, so you can just analyze the code of the script and or the documentation. Yeah, so there's a lot of permissions.
You can
I do not remember it because this is thousands.
But you can divide it to read and write, because if you don't need bots, you are maybe more take care about drift and the states than security. You can just read only your environment and.
So in the general, we need to have the read rights, but if you want to execute the bots, you need to provide the also rights.
Yeah, bots are supporting only several services, not all services, but the listed. So for these services.
Yeah, because I was thinking if you are using security role, which is created by the AWS and is limited to only reading, and also if you threat model, what could happen if your client, for example, configures Rapid7, it needs to configure this role with write actions, and there is like a new attack vector of taking the keys which Rapid7 is using. So we are introducing new tool which can impact our cloud because of, or let's say, CV in your product, or like just a failure in securing it by, let's say, weak password.
But first of all, the recommendations are like it's limited, like your role is not open, like read all and write all, but it's limited to dedicated services, and also I'm not an expert in that product, but as far as I remember, you need to authenticate your platform to your AWS by using this role. So you need to, on this process of deployment, you need to build some trust chain, and it's not like everyone probably can mesh on this role, I feel. But I need to check.
Yeah.
Okay. And
You already asked two.
I have more in a second.
I didn't catch that. Is the solution you're deploying for a single account or this is organization-wide?
We're supporting both ways.
Yeah, both.
You see, this is the question you asked.
Yeah, thank you.
It's like my Macy doesn't work as I would like it to work.
No. I asked if they tested it because I don't know how it works right now.
Guys, I think the other speaker needs some time, so let's maybe make some prizes for the most active audience. Yeah, so this, I think you are the organizer. So
No, not for me. They've chosen me as organizer because I was telling all the jobs.
The most tough question was here, so thank you. Here you are. Also, question you have 3 questions, and on this side,
Andy?
yes.
AWS credits?
Yeah, so AWS credits will be later. These are gifts
Okay.
from Rapid7. So thank you very much.
Thanks.
If you need anything related to security, please contact us.
Okay, so thank you very much for your presentation. I hope I didn't scare you. I have one more, but that's not maybe later. Well, we've got a quiz as always, so you can try to answer the questions, and the winners will get vouchers for AWS and also other rewards later at the end. And we'll be taking around 5 to 10 minutes break to prepare with the next speaker. So enjoy the pizza and left and drinks, and we'll be back in a moment. Thanks. Okay. Okay, so let's go sit because we'll be starting the next presentation. And now Aleksander will show us GitHub actions. And I don't know a lot about GitHub actions, so I really hope to learn something and get some idea how to do it right. So big applause for Aleksander.
Okay, everyone, so this presentation, I plan for it to be a bit shorter, and let's see how it goes. Maybe we have a lot of questions as well. So we'll be talking about automating your releases process with your favorite CI tool, GitHub Actions. A bit about myself, I'm Aleksander, Fidelus, or just simply Alek. I recently, this year, joined the public learning team at GitHub, mostly working on something called GitHub Skills. Previously, I was a DevOps engineer. I worked with a lot of AWS technologies, infrastructure as code with Terraform, OpenTofu, Spacelift, and other cool things, and a lot of GitHub and GitHub Actions for sure. It's my first time public speaking, so let's see how it goes. A bit stressed, but I plan to open questions at any time, but if it's a longer question, there's a Q&A at the end. So for the quick agenda, we'll quickly talk about release management, what it is, why to do it. Then we'll overview two tools. First is an NPM package. Second is GitHub Action, maybe compare it a little. Give some scenarios where I used one or the other. And if we have time, a quick live demo and the longer Q&A. So originally, when I wanted to say what is release management, I had a slide why you should version it, version your applications. But I figured maybe let's give you an example. So what originally led me to learn about release management tools that I just mentioned is something similar like this. So before we dive in, does it look familiar to anyone, like instantly looking at this? So you have your AWS account, maybe dev, staging, prod, or even just one account. You have your automation tools, like GitHub Actions, maybe GitLab CI or GitHub Actions. And your automation CI, maybe you have some tests, linting, security scanning, but at the end of your CI, you usually produce some artifacts and push to ECR. And those artifacts can be like Docker images, Lambda packages, and then you use that for your applications. Does anyone has this pipeline ever seen that or uses that right now? Show hands. Okay, there are some hands.
Is it even this simple?
Maybe, I don't know. But when you create those Docker images, there's a big question. How do you tag them? So you can use different types of tags. I hope you don't use latest, but yeah. On the example here, maybe you, maybe you use the hash of the Docker application that is within this Docker image, or maybe you use some context from the GitHub action around that triggered it. So for example, like the SHA-256 of the commit. But the big question is, does that tag offer any information about this version? So when you update your application, no matter what compute you use, Lambda, EKS, ECS, from one version to the other, do you know, how do you know what changed between those versions and the next one? Did you introduce any like breaking changes, or if other teams use your application, do they know that you introduce breaking changes? That's the questions I was asking myself as I said when I first learned about what I will share with you today. So this is like a slide addition to the previous slide. An example that I had in a project, what we wanted to start tagging with semantic versions, some of our releases. We had a rule that anything that goes to prod needed to be semantically versioned and documented. Actually, I don't know if the rule came first or the automation, but one or the other. But we could still experiment on the dev account because every time a push to master was triggered, we would still create like the Docker hash versions of the artifacts, the Docker images, or developers could trigger them on demand so they can deploy to dev or their feature accounts. But when we knew something is stable and it had to be promoted to staging and prod, only semantic versions. Before that, when we only used the commit shas and we didn't have any documentations, I mean, we could ship anytime and still promote to staging and prod, but we couldn't easily track what changes were done to prod, what features were added, what bug fixes were introduced. So that's why we did it. And we needed a tool to automate all of this. So I started looking through internet, and that's when I first found the first tool of today's talk, semantic release. It is an NPM package that more or less completely automates what I would just describe. In one show of hands, anyone uses semantic release or knows? Okay, so hands. So a quick introduction for those that don't. Semantic release is an NPM package, and the way it works is it reads your commit messages since the last release and determines the next semantic release version. So if the commits indicate that there is a breaking change, it will bump to major. It's a new feature, minor, some non-important or bug fixes, it's the patch. But the biggest catch is you need to follow a specific commit messaging format. The most popular, at least I think so, I haven't checked data on this, so don't quote me, is conventional commits. Do you use conventional commits with semantic release?
No, I use a plugin so I can do, I think Angular, so like the default one is like
Angular.
Something, yeah, I use the new
Angular commits is very similar to conventional commits. Actually, I don't even know the difference. Okay, that was two the same slide. So an example of conventional commits from the screenshot from the official website. How you should habit yourself or introduce a habit to your development cycle and to your team, because using this it is mostly not a technical challenge, but this is a small habit shift to change how you structure your commits. But with this consistent format, semantic release knows if you use an exclamation point, this is the simple version, or use a breaking change in the footer, that means it is a breaking change to the application. So when you use this tool later, it knows that the next version should be a major release bump. If it's a non-important change, like maybe updating spelling in changelog, this commit doesn't need a new release of your Docker image. Let's agree. And maybe if it's a new feature, but it's not a breaking feature, it's a minor release, fixing some bugs, it's just the smallest release, so the patch one.
So can I have a question?
Yes, short one.
Yes, so this is guidance or is this automated?
This is how you need to, the semantic release only enforces you to use this, but so you need to write these commits yourself, but I will have some tips how to make it easy.
Okay, so but there is a repository of examples that I can plug into other intended to tell
Yes.
everybody that's.
I even use an AI example of
Please
this.
go.
Yes. Yeah. So how to plug this into GitHub Actions? Let me show what components you need to join it all together. So first, this is a configuration file. If you want to use semantic release, you will need this configuration file in your repository. And essentially, semantic release works like a pipeline. I like to imagine it, and that's how they imagine on the official doc. So I use that reference. But pipeline because it runs like a series of steps, and each step is powered by plugins. So in this example on the screen, these are like very basic plugins that are like, I think, the default ones. So one of the steps is analyzing commits, and the commit analyzer plugins implements this step of semantic release. It reads all of your commits since the last release and figures out what kind of version pump is needed. So if there was an exclamation point, next one is major. It's just a feature, minor, as I showed on the previous slide. Release notes generator. It is also based on the commit history. It generates human-readable release notes for the GitHub release. I will show you release notes in a moment. And the GitHub plugin takes all of that and creates a release with a git tag and comments. This is optional, but if you want, you can also have like a success comment when a new release was released. You can comment on all pull requests or issues that were included in this release, that they were resolved or added as a feature in the release version that we just deployed. You can customize the plugins as much or as little as you want. Each of them accepts some kinds of inputs or customizations, like the GitHub one. You see 3 different customizations for the commit analyzer and release notes. Also can be customized. I didn't do that. Yeah, semantic release is definitely meant for automation, and automation on GitHub is done with GitHub Actions. So maybe I don't know how to deep go in GitHub Actions. So who uses GitHub Actions and knows what this means? Where is the hand? Okay. So a quick introduction. If you haven't used this before, GitHub Actions lets you define workflows. This is a workflow. A workflow is a file in the repository, and workflows run on certain triggers. So the triggers are defined in number 3 to 6 lines. The trigger here is the push to branch main. So every time a commit is pushed to main, this workflow or all the jobs will be run on that event. So here, every time we push a commit to main, we check out the code and use the semantic release action, which essentially is just a wrapper for the npm package. So it just passes, it just essentially just uses that npm package. So you can choose different triggers depending on when you want to release. Like some teams have, let's say, release branches. So you could change the number 6 line to trigger the new release when you push to the release branch, or maybe when you create a git tag. This example is good for like small frequent releases. So every time you have a feature or a fix you want to release like a small bump, this is perfect for you. The biggest challenge, tying what was asked, I guess, the biggest challenge is your commit messages. Let's be honest, we've all written something similar to this. Maybe for different reasons you don't want to spend time, or maybe you want to trigger some automation, so just commit, push, and doesn't work, commit again, and do 20 commits in 10 minutes. But if you are using semantic release, you can't do that, because semantic release, as I explained, and relies entirely on properly structured commit messages. So if your commits don't follow the structure, it can figure out what version to bump, it can generate release notes. So getting your team to commit with the good structure is the biggest shift. It's, as I said, it's not a technical problem, it's like a habit change. But it can be made, let's say, a bit easier. There are different ways to make it simpler. I have two that I used here. The first, but there are other ones I'm sure you will find on the internet. Here's one of the simplest and most effective things I originally did in my projects to improve the semantic release workflow is to, when you have a pull, we're working on pull request, and when you you have the option in GitHub to squash all of your pull request commits into one and use the pull request title as the final commit messages. So that gives you one clean structured commit message per pull request. So you don't require your developers to learn this habit of writing good commit messages all the time, because it will be annoying for many people. So you only require them to write a good pull request title that follows the conventional commit. Some things you would, if you want to follow this advice, in the repository settings, you need to, in your GitHub repository settings, I think on the first page, if you scroll down, there will be a pull request section, and you want to disable allow merge commits, and only have allow squash merging enabled, and change the commit message to pull request title and optionally commit details. And also to enforce it, because you want to trust your developers but verify it as well, you can use another GitHub action that runs every time a pull request is opened but also like edited. So for example, edited means someone edited the pull request title, so it's changed, they changed it, maybe they fixed it, or they made it wrong, so you want to run it again and check if that pull request title follows the semantic release convention. If it doesn't, it fails the check, they can't write it. So here's an example of my 4 beautiful commits. Test, very nice commit message, tacos and fixes. And I put a, let's say, good, or at least a commit message that follows the conventional null commit standard, prefixed with a fix, output, whatever. And as you can see here, the conventional PR title check that this title follows the convention, and I only have squash and merge option enabled. So when I merge this pull request on the main branch, what will end up is one commit message that has this PR title as the commit message, not all of those 4 bad messages. Second example, so coming back to your question, I think, is using AI, because AI is good, AI is modern, and depends, you can feel different about it, but I think in this example, I use it all the time, even when I don't need to. So I was bad at writing good commit messages. I wanted to push fast and didn't want to write very good descriptions. And that's where Copilot came in my life. If you are using VS Code, there are multiple different instructions you can give to Copilot to behave in different ways, depending on what Copilot is doing. So here is a screenshot from my user settings. where I say that every time Copilot is using message generation, use conventional commit message format. And then when I had to switch for this, I was always git commit on the terminal, but now I go to the you might laugh at this, I go to the VS Code side panel, click this button, and it looks at all my changes and generates like 80% of the time, get me 80% of the way there, right? So sometimes I may need to tweak a bit, but at least I don't have to write good commit messages from scratch.
So just a
Sure.
quick one. So you don't need to give any instruction for Copilot to generate the message. It will read all the changes by itself.
This is the yes. You don't need it. It has it will be paid by default. This is like custom instructions. Okay, so now we've got good commits. Let's say we push to master and release a new version. So now what? After semantic release publishes a new Git tag and a new GitHub release, we have these Docker images that, as you saw on one of the first slides, now I want versions, right? So GitHub Action supports many different triggers, but for this slide, you can see on number line 4 and 5, the event trigger is the release event, and I use this every time I have a release on GitHub, I can release Docker images, right? So I have a reusable workflow, build ECR artifacts that is in the same repository, and I have all the logic there to log into AWS with OIDC, build the Docker image, of course I scan it, and then push it to ECR, and that reusable workflow has one input, the image tag, and it uses that input to tag the image. So for that, I'll pass the tag name from the event of the release. So it will be like v1.2.0, right? Outside of the scope of release management, I really like to structure my building artifacts in reusable workflows, because in theory I could run all of this here. So build the ECR artifact and build the Docker image, log into AWS, and run everything in this one workflow and don't use reusable ones. But this build ECR artifacts I can also use for the Docker hash versions or commit versions when I want to deploy to dev and don't have stable releases, right? Yeah. So the result. Now we have two sides of things. The repository on which we have versioning through Git tags like the V010, and for each release there is some changelog. For example, I had 3 maintenance commits that did not trigger a release, and after this, I pushed a commit with a feature, it triggered a release. After that triggers the workflow that I just showed you, pushes the Docker images to ECR. It can be any artifacts, it depends what your application builds. Docker images, Lambda packages, binaries, depends what you build. Okay, so that was the first tool. And before we go into the second tool, which I use now at GitHub Skills, has anyone used GitHub Skills? Okay, yeah, you are too experienced for this. But maybe after this presentation, you like me and you give it a try, message me on LinkedIn with some feedback. Okay, so I recently joined the GitHub Skills team, and this was around for some time, but we are giving it some new life, let's say. And we needed to version some of our components, like GitHub Actions, reusable workflows, and also I am now a developer who versions Markdown. I only knew semantic release, but so I initially wanted to apply it here, but quickly replaced it with another open source tool because I think it fits us just better. Before we dive into the next tool that we use, a quick introduction how GitHub Skills works so you get the context. So GitHub Skills is essentially made up of like 30 minutes to an hour-long self-paced exercises in the styles of labs. So to take this is an exercise. To take an exercise, you create a repository under your usernames, like Skills Integrate and Secure Copilot, and to use and you generate that from one of our template repositories. Our template repositories are essentially GitHub Skills. Those are the GitHub Skills exercises. That spins up some automation happening in the background to prepare like the learning experience that you will go through. For example, the README is updated with the context of my username. This is not in the template repository. It was updated after you created your own repository. To start the exercise, you click the Go to Exercise button, and it will take you to the issue that was also opened by the automation. And this is the entire user experience. That issue that was created, the user will be guided through the learning process in this issue. So the way it works, each exercise, for example, learning how to use the very famous now model context protocol with Copilot, you can go on GitHub Skills and learn how to do it. And we will take you step by step in this issue. And as you work to complete a step, we will monitor all of that with the GitHub Actions workflow and may add an issue comment with feedback or like guiding you towards the right direction to progress to the next step. Some issue comments are often, like this two, for example, are often reused across exercises. So we store them and version them as Markdown templates, the same as the README was shown on the last slide. There are also different actions and GitHub workflows that we also version and reuse. They are available to the public, so you can all open source repositories that we reuse to run all of this flow. To build all the exercises faster, we are in the process, or let's say we did standardize and created a library, or what we call an exercise toolkit of some reusable components. You can see here, for example, some reusable workflows are in that repository, some basic actions, mostly composite, that don't, let's say, are small enough that they don't deserve their own repository versioning, and some Markdown templates that we then use in that issue with some context from your account. As I said, we use a different tool than semantic release for versioning of the exercise toolkit. Can anyone guess what it is? There is a hint on this slide. It's the draft release. Someone use this? Okay. So the release drafter, I guess no one guessed until probably no one used it, right? It is the semantic release, if it's a good comparison, I don't know, semantic release was like 20K something stars. Release drafter, I think, is not as old, so I don't know if it's better, but it's newer. Release drafter is not an NPM package, it is a GitHub action. It is pull request label based automation. As you can see, the merged pull request view, the color things are labels, and that's what release drafter uses. So semantic release uses commit messages. Release drafter uses pull request labels and doesn't look at your commit messages. So you can still use test and push and whatever. And these labels are critical for release drafter. They do the same thing. So based on your labels, the next they determine the semantic version. Also generate the release notes and split them into different sections, right? After you merge every pull request, your release draft updates. So this is my in the let's say repositories we use this is my favorite aspect, just because how we develop it is it's not immediately pushed as a release. It is drafted, and the drafts are only visible to people that maintain the repository, that have right access to the repository. So every time a pull request is merged, it looks what labels it had, and then it adds that entry here. So it's like a semi-automatic process, because whenever you're happy with the draft, you release the draft in the UI, which I will show you later. This is the configuration file. YAML. I mean, it's quite boring, but the categories section is you tag each label. How should it be displayed in the release draft? So, for example, if we have documentation, you may add fancy icons so it looks better. If it's breaking changes, you want to display that it's kaboom. And the template of how the entire release notes should be structured. So maybe at the beginning, we'll always say what's changed, then the variable of changes, which is essentially all the pull requests split into the categories, full changelog from the previous tag to the next tag. So what changed between these versions? You can have labels that you don't want to include in the release notes, like skip changelog. And one of the important parts, the resolving what labels mean what version bounds should be, let's say, expected. In semantic release, we have the exclamation point or breaking change in the footer. Here, if I tag it with breaking, it means the next release should be a breaking change. Yeah, so this is the GitHub action workflow. Also, I think very simple. Every time the workflow dispatch is manual run, I could remove it. I didn't want to make the screenshot again, so I left it there. But you trigger release draft on every push to main, and it goes to your repository and checks all the pull requests since the published release and updates the release draft with that information. Yeah, but we want to automate the labeling as well. We don't want to structure we don't need to structure our commits in any way as in semantic release tool, but someone or something needs to add the labels to the pull requests, so the release drafter knows what to do. I will give a note that release drafter has a built-in feature for labeling, but I personally didn't like it, and I prefer to don't use that feature and use the actions labeler action separately. So how it works? You run the actions labeler every time there is a pull request event. There is something changed in the pull request, like added new files, and it will label that pull request depending on what was changed in the pull request. For example, here on this pull request, I was doing some changes in the source files, so it figured when adding something in the source files, I added a configuration that if I change anything in the source files, add the enhanced main label. I was also doing some maintenance on the repository, so maybe I was changing like GitHub workflows, so it also added that label. But I knew the feature I added is also a breaking change. So it's like a part that sometimes a human needs to decide, okay, this is a breaking change, maybe you need to add this label yourself. Okay. Yeah, so when you want to publish the release, you go to the UI I showed you of the release draft, click the edit button, and release notes of release drafter are a draft. So you can have the option now, before you publish it, to edit if you want to, for example, maybe remove something, or if you added a breaking change feature, you can maybe include an example how to migrate from the previous version, or how to use the new version, or anything else you want to edit. And whenever you are ready, you publish the release, and all the following pull requests will start counting toward the next draft. The releasing artifacts, beauty of GitHub Actions, it's the same. So if you release the GitHub release, it's the same as with the semantic release. You just use the same release trigger, use the tag name. It's all the same. Okay. Before I go, let's go through the comparison. So, semantic release was an NPM package. Release drafter is a GitHub action. So GitHub action you can only use in GitHub. If you are not using GitHub, you are stuck with semantic release. To resolve the next version, semantic release uses the commit type, for example, the feature, or fix. The release drafter uses pull request labels. For release notes generation, semantic release looks at your commit messages, the type, so feature to structure it in different, let's say, headers of the changelog, and description for the message, pull request labels, and the title is used in the same way as the commit description is used. Automation level, semantic release is like fully automated. Release drafter is like continuous draft updates, and so and you manually release. I think you can also automate that part, but what I mean, maybe you have a use case where you want to do that. Which is better? Who? Okay, maybe Chopin. Who liked semantic release more? Okay, who liked release drafter more? Okay. For me, both serve like the same purpose, and totally up to your team which one you choose. Really, it doesn't matter. Both are good. Yeah.
Yeah, quick question. Like, in your experience, which one would you prefer? Because, like, looking at the paper, the first one is easier. Like, you are just committing messages, and that's all. In the second one, you need to like look at the PRs, maintain the labels, everything. There's a lot more.
I would say that in my experience, the second pull request labels is easier. Compared, as you said, but it's all subjective. But I would say depends what you are versioning. If I don't anymore develop applications with like Docker images and release every new feature often, so that's why I switched from semantic release. At least that's part of the reason. But if I went to develop like AWS application microservices, maybe I would still use it. Release drafter is just fits how often we release the exercise toolkit for GitHub skills and like GitHub actions. And it's really how often you want to release, what's your like team flow.
Thanks.
I could have a short demo if you want. Let's see how to do that.
Let's go for it.
Yeah. Okay. I don't even know what I wanted to show, but okay. I think here I have release drafter repository. If you want to If you think it's hard, you can go at this repository, it's public, and essentially what it does, this is a Python application with a Docker file and labeler setup and release drafter. So I didn't show labeler configuration in the presentation, actually, I just realized. But labeler is the additional GitHub action that I use to automate labeling. So every time any changes are to the markdown or files or the docs directory, I will add a documentation label. Every time there's anything done in the .github directory, I will add maintenance. Anything in the source files, I will add enhancement. This is automation. You can always add labels, remove labels, right? And then there is the release drafter configuration, which tells, okay, the labels that are added, how they should be used in the release draft. And I think there is already, there are some releases. V020, and there is a release draft, because I added dependable configuration file. So we can add something else, maybe documentation in README, or maybe let's change something here. Oh, this isn't convenient. Hello, let's rewrite. If you are using release drafter and you enforce pull request, I would recommend to block committing to main, because if you don't use pull request, release drafter won't pick up the changes. So I have a rule set up to disallow committing directly to main. Only pull requests are allowed. I have really good commit message, and it should run some, labeler is being run. It checks what files I changed, and because I changed source files, added the enhancement label. I don't need good commits messages or pull request title. Oh, I even have Copilot auto commits enabled. I can squash. And in the Actions tab, you will see release drafter is triggered on the push event. So now it goes and checks since the previous release. Never looked at this logs, but lists all the releases, and it finds all the pull requests since the last release and updates the release draft. And I also have set up the what is this? I'm new to Mark as well. We'll release the draft in a second, but this is also the automation for I showed you in the examples that when I release, I will also build the ECR artifacts, which is this workflow that takes the image tag as the input, setups Docker, configures AWS, of course, with OIDC because I'm good guy, logins to ECR, and builds the Docker image using the Docker file and pushes it to the registry and with image tag from the inputs. So it will be, because I added a new feature, so it resolved that the minor version should be bumped. I could edit something here, but I don't want to. I will just publish this release. And the release workflow, the reusable one, is triggered now. Yeah, a lot of stuff, but maybe go to summary. It builds the Docker image, logins to AWS, builds the Docker image. see if it works. Will it work?
Do we need paid subscription to GitHub for draft releases as we do for draft PRs?
I don't think so. I mean, most of things on GitHub, if you use public repositories, are free. On private,
Yeah.
I don't know.
GitHub Actions are free for public repositories.
Draft
Yeah, but the draft, I honestly don't know.
It's still running GitHub Actions under the hood.
No, the draft release functionality.
Yeah, but draft release using GitHub Actions under the hood, so it's still the same pricing model.
What release drafter? The draft release, the one that like 3 screens before, like draft PRs are paid, not committing to master is paid as well. So
You don't see me? Okay. I actually clicked Copilot there and opened a chat to ask this, but it's not popping up here, so you will was a plug. But wait, this is all right. I can do it here. But let's first finish this. As you can see, the build was I pushed an image with this release tag to ECR. Yeah. I could ask Copilot. What was your question?
the draft release that you show, because I haven't seen it before, and I know draft PRs are, for private repos are paid. You need to be on the paid subscription.
I don't know, so I will ask you. Yeah, that's your answer.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Any more questions? Before I share the link, can you also, it's my first presentation, if you can share, go through this QR code, like 4 questions, should take you 2 minutes. If you can provide feedback, that would be really nice. So thank you very much. That's it.
Okay, thank you. We've got a nice presentation about different actions, and I think it should be time for our rewards now. Yeah. So, first we will have few rewards for the most active people, and I hope everybody is sitting on the same place as before, because I have horrible memory to faces, but good memory very well. So, which one we should start with? What do you think?
I think t-shirts and
T-shirts. Okay. So, I hope that will be right. Maybe let's start with the person who asked about the drafter. Yeah, you. Exactly. Come on.
I will do something first.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea actually. What size are you?
T-shirt. Excel.
Oh,
please.
Sammy for sure. Excellent, right. So should we go with a bag
Yes,
or
yes, they are.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll have a beautiful bag for you also. And a cap. So we need the camera. So congrats. We can wait to the. Okay, next person. One person already escaped. So I think you were asking about this rapid sample comparison stuff and also later. So we've also got reward from us. We'll be taking a lot today.
We have
Double XL or M?
I think we can.
If that's AWS, we should probably like US based.
Yes.
So, congrats. Thank you. Okay, we have still one more t-shirt. Do you remember?
M? If M, it's for me.
Double XL.
No.
An idea. There was some question, but I don't remember exactly who. In like the previous presentation. You were asking. Come on. So, we've got something for you. Let me pack it. Congrats. Should we still go to the quiz? We can like give out
Yes.
vouchers with stocks and stuff if there are here on place.
So the first winner is someone with the beginning of the mail KAVY.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
Okay. So for you also, because it is S side, so it's something to do
With the
with the
yeah. And also
And the voucher, I will deliver you by email, right? Because it's
so
digital one.
congrats. And remember the voucher is for AWS, not Amazon. You can buy anything from Amazon. Okay, second person.
DAV dot SYNAK. DAV dot Synak. Right, maybe
Is that
someone
fast?
from
Okay, if
from
if
online.
online, the voucher will be sent over through email.
The next one, Marek Aren 83.
Mark's
Alright.
here. Congrats. Getting our last bag. Congrats. And also the voucher, the email.
And next one, Andrzej.Kondrat77.
Okay.
Someone from
I think it's online.
And the last winner, Kirill.OCH.
Congrats.
And voucher
And voucher
also
there.
by email.
Okay, so I think that's all for today. Thanks everybody for coming. Thanks for a great presentation. We learned a little about security, learned about nice cloud product for detection, and we also learned about GitHub Actions. So pretty nice session, I think. What do you think? Thanks for your time, and well, let's
See you
enjoy
next-
our time and see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Zapraszamy jeszcze na